back with another One Piece Dream Porter video. There is a 90% viewership that is unsubscribed, so if you are one of those people, shame on you. Subscribe right now and help my journey to 300 subs. Also, we are almost at 200 members in our Discord server, so if you are interested in leaks, new updates, and character kits, then join the Discord now. It's time for our monthly tier list. Now let's go ahead and break down what I think are the best units to use right now in this current PvP meta. Now let's go ahead and start with New World Nami. I think New World Nami currently is the second best unit right now in the game. She's able to supercharge everyone's ult and increase your damage and increase how fast everybody gets their ult. She's a really good unit and she's tanky as well. Next we have Rayleigh. I think Rayleigh right now is the best unit in the game currently. He is so good. He's my favorite unit to use right now. If you're doing real-time PvP, he's my favorite for 3v3, and if you're doing 6v6, he's one of my favorites for 6v6 as well. He is so good. Next we have Aokiji. I do think Aokiji is one of the most busted units right now in the game. I think he is deserving of the god spot, and I think putting him as the third best unit or the fourth best unit is just right for him. Next we have Kizaru. Now I think Kizaru will go down just a bit. I don't think he's god tier because nowadays I'm able to defeat Kizaru with ease as long as I have either Ace or Mihawk in my squad. So I don't think Kizaru is belonging in that god tier, but if you do use Aokiji, I think it is worth adding Kizaru to your team. Now the unit that I will be adding to god tier is definitely going to be Beige. Now Beige is so good right now in this meta. The only good yellow units currently is post-transformation Crocodile, Kizaru, and Enel. So there's not that much yellows that he needs to be scared of, and he is so tanky. The fact that he can taunt and he's a low-key Rayleigh counter, you can have him taunt, and when Rayleigh hits him, he's gonna be only damaging himself and he's not gonna be able to heal that damage. And I think that ends it with the god tier. Now let's go ahead into S tier. I think Ace is a good spot right at the top of S tier. He's so good. The only reason I wouldn't put him in god tier is that him and Aokiji kind of counteract each other. So I think having him at the top of S tier is actually really good. Next we have Zoro. Now Zoro is so good. He's currently my favorite DPS in the entire game. I love my Zoro. Super high damage, and there's not enough good things I can say about New World Zoro. Next we have Enel. I think currently Enel might just be a tad bit better than Zoro. The reason I say that is because Enel has a safe proof, which is his revive. He's able to revive in 3v3 formats, whereas New World Zoro just ends up dying front line in 3v3 most of the time if the enemy team focuses him. Next we have Lucci. I'm gonna drop him just a couple spots. I think he's really good, but the buff they gave him was kind of lackluster in my opinion. It only made so that the critical hits ensure heal block, and I didn't really like that. I wish they buffed him just a bit more, but he is a really good unit. Next we have Hawkins. I think having him right at the 5th best unit is actually a really good spot for Hawkins. Hawkins is so good because he's super tanky. For a yellow unit, he's actually really tanky, and the fact that he can give you extra card draws, and if he has enough stacks of his passive, he can give you an extra turn. So he's a really good support unit to build, and I really do like him in all PvP formats. Next we have Kid. I think Kid is going to drop just a tad bit. Kid is a really good unit, but the fact that you need to set him up a little bit kind of holds him back just a bit, and the fact that there's other red characters I like just a bit more than Kid drops him just a bit, but he is a great unit. Next we have Mihawk. I think Mihawk is actually going to be bumped up just a bit. Right now in a lot of servers, Mihawk is being spammed in the back line. The reason why he isn't the best unit is because if you're playing real-time PvP, in the 3v3 mode, he's not the best unit to use because he needs to get stacks of his passive, and his passive only works if you kill enemy units or your enemy units die. I'm pretty sure it's that. But he has one of the highest damage capabilities in the game up there with Zoro, so I really do like him as a damage dealer. Next we have Law. Now I'm going to bump up Law just a little bit. The reason why I think Law is so good is that you get free shards every month and every week from doing PvP, which makes it so that you're able to easily get him max life. So that's the reason why I really like Law. He's one of the only yellow characters where you're able to get him max dupe for free, and the fact that he has a lot of nice things in his kit, like canceling an entire enemy's ult so they can't ult for a certain turn, and being able to switch out enemy units. I think he's actually a really slept on yellow unit. Next we have Boa. I'm gonna bump Boa just a little bit up because I do see her used pretty often. She's actually a really good unit, and the fact that if you have enough dupes into her, she can ult first turn, but her CC is not consistent. And if people are running the shrimp badge, it is a 4th badge, which basically makes it so that on certain turns you do not get CC'd. So that's why I think it holds her back just a little bit, and the fact that Aokiji is way better at doing CC than her holds her back just a little bit. Now we have Crocodile. Crocodile is really hard to rate because I think he's one of the best units post transformation, but not a lot of people run post transformation Crocodile just because not a lot of people have him max dupe. If you have a max dupe plus post transformation, then he's actually really good, but if you don't have him transform, he's actually subpar. I'm gonna move him up just a bit because the people who do have him transform, I think he's up there with Ace, Zoro, and Mihawk in terms of damage and capabilities in PvP. He has an AoE defense break, which is actually really good, and he can get his ult super fast as well. If you have Nami, then he can get his ult first turn, so he's actually really good. And last but not least, we have Vivi. Now Vivi is also really good. She's also in the same boat as Crocodile. Post transformation, Vivi's all the way up here, to be honest with you. If you have her transform and you have her max dupe, she is so annoying in 3v3 format. But if you don't have her max dupe, then she's kind of bottom of the barrel in terms of S tier. So I'm gonna put her in the middle of the pack just because for the people who do have her transform, she is so good. And the reason why I really like her is because right now in PvP we see a lot of tanky formations, Beige, Rayleigh, which is super annoying to deal with. So that's why I think right now if you want to go ahead and run Beige a lot, or if you want to go ahead and run Rayleigh a lot, having Vivi in the back line is actually really good. Next we have Sanji. Now Sanji, I'm actually going to bump him up to S tier. The reason I'm going to bump him up to S tier is that he's actually super annoying to deal with because he has taunts, and he can basically use his taunt as long as he uses 2 cards in the previous turn, and he's actually really tanky. But the only thing that's holding him back is that you have to use him with New World Zoro, and on top of that he doesn't do damage, which is super annoying. Then finally we have New World Luffy. I think New World Luffy at A tier is actually a really good spot for him. I have him max duped, but I don't use him on attack. I only use him in my defense formations. That's the reason why I leave him at A tier. And last but not least, we have Apu. Apu is not good. He's bad. I don't like him. I wish he gets buffed pretty soon because he is deserving of a buff. Now let's go ahead and talk about the new units. First we have Hina. I think Hina is a pretty good unit, but what's holding her back is the fact that she does no damage. She has a lot of CC in her kit, and she has counterattack in her passive, where if she uses a certain amount of cards in her previous turn, she goes into a counterattack stance, and she can basically counterattack the enemy units and make it so that they cannot switch or use cards that turn, which is super annoying to deal with, but she does no damage, so that's kind of the downside of her kit. Now last but not least, we have Khalifa. Now Khalifa is a really good unit. I really do like her. I think she is an S tier unit, but the thing about Khalifa, if they implement more pursuit characters in the game, I think she actually will be really broken. Now the reason why I say that is in her passive, when other pursuit effect of other partners is triggered, Khalifa's pursuit effect will be triggered as well, and one pursuit card of our pursuit partner will be drawn. So the reason why she's really good with pursuit characters is that she's able to pursue with other pursuit characters when they activate their cards, and she draws card for your other pursuit characters, which is really good. And on top of that, she's a little bit tanky, and the reason why I say that is because she's able to take reduced damage from non-white and purple characters by 42%. Now I'm pretty sure this number is when she's max duped, but she's still able to resist damage from non-white and purple units, which is actually actually really good. And one of her cards puts the target into a slippery state for 1 round. When using a skill or ultimate not triggered by pursuit, there is a 50% chance of failure to use it. No action points are consumed, and that's the reason why I really like her. She's able to do nice pursuit damage with other pursuit characters and take reduced damage from non-white and purple characters, and she has a little bit of silence in her kit, which is always nice to have. Alright, that's pretty much my entire video for this monthly tier list. I apologize that this video came out a little bit late. I was waiting for a second character to get released, and Khalifa just got released pretty recently. She's actually a pretty solid character, and I might end up doing a summoning video for her, so be on the lookout for that video. Thanks for watching. This is Gacha Baka signing out.